if possible. We want to review identify possible solutions, and then we want to evaluate the possible solutions. And again, you can see how we develop that comparison grid that we went through yesterday's training to help clients do so. All right, so let's open it up for discussion. We've got a few minutes left. The goal today is to say thank you for being one of our distribution partners. Together, we have the ability to go help others improve their financial literacy and increase their access to capital. We have a legal, we have an ethical approach. All of our contractual agreements are in writing. And to the best of my knowledge, we do 100% of the time what we promise to do. With that being said, you're an important part of the model. You're a reseller or a grant coordinator. It's a great opportunity for you to earn an adult income. Again, our average reseller does a deal a day. Now, we have some that do 4 or 5 a day on a consistent basis, but we're not trying to get you to be an all-star. But what we'd like you to do is to be thoughtful today and to determine what's the problem that's keeping you from being at least average. Write down and brainstorm possible solutions, and then let's work together to find some solution because you should be at least average. All right, so going through some of the text and comments. Craig says one of the problems that he's having is the cost to purchase the shelf corp. Okay, so that's a great point. So let's go through that. First of all, each of you pick how much you want to sell the shelf corp for. You're a reseller. You pick the price. We know the wholesale price is 10,000. Anything above that's your profit. Clients don't need to come up with anything out of pocket. With approved credit, we get them $0 down. If they've got shitty credit, we can bring in a cosigner. If they got shitty credit, we can't find a cosigner. We can use the Sweet Pay program, which we've educated you on, and you can access that. The interest rate on Sweet Pay, for example, is 0%. So Craig's main objection he's facing is high interest rates to get approved to finance the shelf corp. Well, Craig, number one, people get whatever interest rate they deserve because we're not marking it up, right? The lenders determine interest rate and it's based upon their risk. So people that are more risky are going to pay more. But we've got 0% available, Craig. So that's probably my fault, not yours. If you have someone that's pushing you back on, hey, I want to do a shelf corp, but the offers that they received, the interest rates were not attractive, let them know they have a 0% option. And I don't think you're going to have anyone push back, Craig, on 0% being too high. All right. Let's see here. Michael B says the biggest problem he has is trust. So that's relevant. So I think if you will pause Michael B and make sure you understand the problem that they're looking to solve, how much money they're wanting, what they're going to use it for. So you understand them, first of all. Use the comparison sheet like we trained you yesterday, which you can see that training, to help them come up with possible solutions. Because we don't want to go in and act very, very opinionated that we have the only way for them to solve their problem. There's other solutions. And so if you use that comparison sheet, Michael B, like we talked about yesterday, you can help them come up with options. There are some things that each of you do that impacts how much people trust you. So it's okay if you want to use what's called a stage name. So let's say that Michael doesn't want people to know he's Michael, so he wants to be called Eric. Legally and ethically in business, you can use a different name. I don't, but you could. So that's number one. But how you present yourself, especially when you're going to people and trying to help them solve their problems, they're going to be looking at you. So I wouldn't abbreviate your last name, Michael. I think that's going to create a barrier to trust. It's just like, what are you hiding? Michael B. Why don't you tell me your last name? So I wouldn't abbreviate your last name, little thing. And then any of you that's using Gmail or Yahoo or AOL or porn.com, any of those consumer email accounts, that's not going to breed a lot of trust either, is it? Because as a reseller, we're out of the picture. It's not about us, it's about you. You're the reseller. So they need to trust you, Michael, not us. They need to trust you because they're doing the deal with you. And so if you can make some changes, I wouldn't abbreviate your last name. People are going to find that fishy. I wouldn't be using Gmail, AOL, any of the consumer accounts. So for those of you that act in a very relaxed manner, you can, but we're talking about generating 100,000 a month or more for you. You might want, Michael B. and others, you might want to run your business like a business. So on your emails, do you have a signature on there? And a signature means, does it have your information on it versus not? So there's little things, Michael B. and others that you could do that I think will help you build more trust with clients because you're the messenger. You're going out as a reseller. It's a white label, it's a private label program. So it starts with how you're presenting yourself. I wouldn't abbreviate your last name. Use a fake name if you want, because that's technically legal within business. But also get away from consumer email. Think about your voicemail. Some of you, you're using your cell phone for business, and either the message is all crazy or it's full or the way you talk on the phone. So, yeah, trust is between you and your prospect, but there's a number of basic things that you could do that would help. But as a reseller, as a white seller, a white label, private label, it's you presenting to the prospect. If you use the contract that we've provided, which has been developed by attorneys, it's legal, it's ethical, it's fair. If you use the comparison sheet that we've given you, if you use the flyer, I think you have the tools, but it does require you to make those edits to use those. All right, so I'm trying to go through the many responses to see. Benjamin says his problem in being average, he's below average because he doesn't have leads. Okay, so that's a good answer. So any business, whether you're a doctor or you own a Domino's franchise, we need leads. And those leads become prospects, and those prospects can become customers. Well, first of all, my first response is that's your role. As a reseller, that's what you all bring to the table. You do education, lead generation, and close deals. That's what you do. And if you're not good at that, I would go build a sales team, Benjamin, of people that are good at it. Because there's a lot of people that are experienced in sales. I think some of you, great people, but some of you really don't have much experience in sales. So you're kind of like a fish out of water. Does that mean you can't be successful? Absolutely not. Let's say you and I went, well, I'll give you an example. You probably don't care, but I used to be a consultant with Deloitte and Touche. Now it's called Deloitte. And one of my clients was a big physical therapy company. So they offered physical therapy, occupational therapy, and then what's called speech pathology, speech therapy. So I was consulting with the owner and then ended up, I bought that. It's called rehab, not like drug or alcohol, but a rehab, physical rehab. I bought that company. Now, did I do physical therapy on patients or occupational therapy? No, I'm not licensed in any of those things. I hired those people. Well, of course, there was staff that came with the purchase, but I had employees that did that. So just because you're not, Benjamin, I'm not saying you're not, but if you're not really good at lead generation or closing deals, you don't have to be. You can build a team and manage the team because Benjamin, you're a leader. I can tell you're a leader. Lead a sales organization. You don't have to be the one generating the leads or closing the leads. You can run the sales organization, but someone needs to sell. Because if you don't sell, then you're not solving anyone's problems. And if you're not solving anyone's problems, you're not making money. All right, so let's see if there's any other Questions. Corinthians said she needed more exclusive leads. Okay. Yeah, because there's different types of leads you could get. You could generate your own. Now, we have a number of our top producers, they're running ads on Instagram and Facebook and so forth. And so they're organically generating their own leads and they're spending hundreds of dollars a day. And you might say, oh, that sounds horrible. But they're making well over 6 digits a month. But no, I don't mean that, that was poorly worded. They're making over 100,000 a month consistently. So, yes, you need leads. You can decide where to get the leads. You can buy leads. You can build your own leads. You can get referrals from others. You can build a sales team that goes generates leads. But you're Corinthian, you're exactly right. Any sales organization needs leads. And if you don't have leads, nothing else can happen. Once you have the leads, you need to become good at closing. So, when we built the reseller program, our intent was not to be a sales training company. It was to work with professionals like you who are good at lead generation and closing. And then we'd have a great comp model. So, don't necessarily look to us to train you how to be a good salesperson, but if you're not a good salesperson, either develop that skill or build a sales team or do something else. There's lots of ways you can make 100,000 a month legally and ethically. And I think that's the problem we run into with people like Michael and with France and Gilda. A lot of you can go make 100,000 a month 10 different ways or 20 different ways. So we have to kind of compete for the best talent. But this is great. We do what we promise to do, and it's a great income. And there's no cost, right? We're not trying to sell you something to be a distribution partner. All right. So with that being said, here at the bottom, same resources and contact information. I continue to get feedback. I had one gentleman last night, he was calling last night during the middle of the night. And so finally we text him back. It's like, dude, the office is closed. What's your fucking emergency in the middle of the night? So again, people are kind of weird, but if you call our main number, it's answered live Mondays through Fridays during office hours. But it's not answered live at 9 p.m. at night. We shouldn't be surprised with that, right? But we recommend texting. Now, we've had a growth spurt. We're at the end of a very busy month. So, granted, we're a little bit slow in responding, not because we don't care, but you can always schedule. We have others of you, like Ernest, who's on here. You all will call early in the morning. We're not at the office. We're home making whoopee with our wives or whatever, and then the phone's blowing up. Well, I would call during the day, or I would schedule a call. And that's what normal businesses do. Professional services businesses normally schedule calls. So I encourage you to schedule a call. But if you have something that's more urgent, can't wait, I'd recommend texting. But I'm sorry if you think that our staff is up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, waiting for you to call in off hours. That's frankly unreasonable. All right, if you just need some quick cash, you can get that on 509 Pacific, become a reseller grant coordinator, 509 Pacific. And then this is really important where our past trainings are. So thanks, everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. I hope that you'll be thoughtful today in how to identify what is your problem that's keeping you from being at least average. Consider different solutions, evaluate those solutions, and take action with the goal of the month of May. Let's be average. Let's get you to a deal a day, 5 a week, 20 for the month. Make sure that you're generating at least 100,000 of income for yourself in the month of May. It's doable. It's reasonable. You can do it. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Bye.